You have been called back by the company you gave your full presentation to for a second visit. They've asked that you speak only about the ethical aspects of the problem and to explain why your solution successfully handles any ethical issues. You'll have 10 minutes. Hopefully you can see this, which I will hold up when you have 2 minutes to go. There will be no Q&A and no slides, please, or videos. And you probably don't want to have more than 2 or 3 members do your presentation. So we'll do the 10-minute first, and then following that, the 90-second presentation. And with that, I turn it over to you. Team, go ahead.
Good morning. UniWRights would like to thank the ABL for their interest in our solutions. We are here to present to you the ethical issues that banks are facing in Lebanon, as well as our suggestions and our solutions. Started off with a little bit of a small saying, God created women equal to men with the same mental and physical capabilities. When men and women are treated differently, it's unethical, especially when they perform the same tasks, which require the same skills, knowledge, and experience. Gender stereotypes contribute to the economic marginalization of women because of conventional patriarchal economic roles attributed to men and women, in which the man bears the financial responsibility for the household, but the woman's salary is just an added value rather than a necessary asset. So women, in that case, tend to hit a professional glass ceiling. Also, gender equality in banks is an ethically significant issue which requires adequate solutions because it leads to an unethical discrimination of women. This influences women's motivation and leads to a lack of relationships between men and women within the workplace and inadequate corporate culture. Some women, for example, in Lebanon, all women in Lebanon, can't open a bank account for their underage children because the Lebanese culture is patriarchal. For example, we're going to take the example of widows. If a widow wants to open a bank account for her children, the person who must sign the papers must be the brother of her dead husband or even his father. And if both are dead, then she is the one who is allowed to sign the papers to open a bank account for her underage children. So gender equality in the workplace affects the overall motivation of women. They will have a lack of motivation to complete their tasks and develop new ideas or use their creativity in the decision-making process. If gender inequality is not respected in if gender equality is not respected in the workplace, more specifically in the banking sector, it will definitely affect the relationship between men and women employees. And as we mentioned before in our previous presentation, Lebanon is based on a patriarchal culture. Many men consider that women should not occupy managerial positions because they underestimate their skills, their experience, their knowledge, and of course their power. And therefore, if women realize that their ability to perform well is completely denied by others, this will lead to a frustration, and the woman will feel underestimated and many negative aspects. For example, in developed countries, women prove themselves in managerial positions or even in running a country. The last example is the coronavirus example. French televisions praised the countries who are run by women because they were able to handle the situation better than any other country in the world. Corporate culture mostly should reflect the organization's policy regarding women's rights. And this issue of gender inequality in Lebanon and in the workplace will negatively influence the overall performance of the bank.
So, as we mentioned in our previous presentation, banks put all their efforts on the company's CSR because it is very important to them. So, if there's gender equality is significant, it will lower the bank's image, and that will lead to a poor corporate culture. Therefore, improper business relations, and a poor implementation of the CSR in the banks. The most important thing is not the image that the ABL wants to show to the public, but a real execution of all the CSR aspects, and especially those highlighted by the UN Global Compact. So this is why it is very important to UniWRights to introduce audit teams that will ensure that these banks are not false publicizing the CSR, but are really applying it in the workplace. So the banking sector in Lebanon has to be more diversified to ensure a better environment within the workplace. How can we ensure this? First, training programs for the HR department can be handled. So recruiters should avoid asking about a candidate's previous salary and offer the same pay range with the job description to every potential employee, regardless of their gender or their earned or what they have earned earlier in early positions. Second, women occupying managerial positions are very efficient because they are really attention to detail, and they can reach higher targets and meet the client's need. So this will increase the profitability and the market share of the bank. Third, UniWRights will also suggest to the bank to be generous with the parental leave and to be more flexible with the schedule, and this will increase the motivation of women, and women will feel more comfortable and will feel a sense of belonging with the bank. So all these will improve the women's motivation and performance at the workplace and will increase the profitability. Since discriminating women is unethical, UniWRights should suggest to the ABL the amendment of the law that states that women cannot open a bank account to their children under their names or sign any official paper. Women, whether they are married or divorced, should be allowed to do so, to open banks accounts to their underage children. So knowing that most directors of the ABL are deputies in the Lebanese parliament, so they can act as a lobbying group. We are asking you to modify some condition in the banking sector before approving the 2021 and 2022 collective labor agreement and signing it with the syndicates of banks employees.
Banks should be more gender diversified because it takes part in the CSR. Banks in Lebanon put all their efforts on the company's CSR. It's not just a theory with the bank, they also apply it. Gender equality in banks is highly appreciated by the community. It reinforces the bank's image, and its values increases the number of clients and the relationship with the bank and its employees, and that leads to higher profits. So we can say that gender equality is an added value to the bank. ABL has already joined the UN Global Compact in 2017. This is why they have to take more serious actions regarding the promises made for the SDG that they have they have chosen to work on. UniWRights will make sure that the ABL is applying all the actions from 2020 to 2023 for all Lebanese banks. The ABL should send the UN Global Compact annual reports of these actions, what they achieved so far, and if they reach their target as well, all the year's results. UniWRights, in collaboration with the ABL, will host conferences and seminars to all bank employees and directors, in which we will communicate the importance of gender equality within the workplace and how it improves the productivity, and the brings for performance, as well as raising awareness to the Lebanese people to give women the value they deserve. Since it's not ethical to offer different salaries for men and women who apply to the same position, UniWRights will introduce audit teams who will control the gender pay gap of the employees occupying the same position to provide more transparency regarding this issue and act on it. With the help of the UN, they will therefore control the application of these goals during a period of 3 years. They have to shed the light on the gaps, of course, if there's any, and try to fix all these issues. Thank you.